There's this study that was done where these in the forest floor there was coconuts that were cut in half and filled with rice, and monkeys that were traveling, on the forest floor could get their hand in there to grab onto the handful of rice that was inside the coconuts. But when they grabbed onto the rice and made a fist, they no longer could pull their hand out. Okay, so they could slide their hand in, but once they tried to grab onto something, they could no longer pull their hand out. And some of the monkeys just stayed there because they weren't willing to let go of their handful of rice that they got. And these are the monkeys that were captured in the forest floor. I think they were like, "Oh, I don't know enough about this study. I hope that this wasn't anything, to trap monkeys." But this idea of, when we grasp onto something, even if it means we get stuck, even if it means we suddenly can't have the mobility of thought or adaptability to try something different, we can get really locked in on I want the rice, and this is what my goal is right now, is to have a grasp on this rice. So, what is your rice? What do you kind of hold on to tightly, even though it restricts you, it binds you, it traps you into perhaps living in a way that isn't serving you best right now. So I think we all have these things, whether it's habituated patterns from our past or an idea of what it is that we're supposed to have or want, where when we grasp, when we have this sense of grasping, it really causes us more suffering. And this is, one of the kleshas of yoga, or the roots of our suffering in the yogic path. We talk about, what causes your suffering, and one of them is to avoid things that we don't want to look at, right? To kind of like anything where we have an aversion to, we kind of turn away from, and then anything we want, we grab on tightly to. And these things actually cause suffering. They don't cause happiness. Right? We think that avoiding what we don't want and grasping what we want will cause satisfaction, contentment, enjoyment, a sense of belonging, whatever it is. But ultimately, these things are causes of our suffering. So, what are you grasping onto? Have you not learned to, kind of adapt and shift in some little thinking pattern in your mind, or some action that you do regularly that's no longer serving you? Maybe it once did serve you, but it's no longer serving you now. This could show up in work or in relationships, in the way you move your body. We're all changing all the time. So we need to learn how to let go in order to not get stuck. So, close your eyes for a moment and sit up straight and tall and think about something that is your personal rice in the coconut. Um, could be something in your yoga practice. Maybe you've moved a certain way for 30 years and suddenly something's wrong, and you need to make an adjustment, but you're like hammering the same nail over and over again. So what can you do to open yourself, open the mind, open the grasping of the mind, the grasping of the body, even the grasping of the breath, where we can hold tight and hold our breath. So, what can you do to let your practice help support you in this unwinding, the sense of loosening yourself from a pattern that's no longer serving? When we face patterns that are habituated or have served us in the past, even if not perfectly, it's difficult to let go. It's kind of like chopping off all your hair. It's just this difficult thing sometimes to realize that it's no longer needed. So as you sit and contemplate, also have deep compassion for the pace at which opening your hand to let go of the rice can happen, that you don't have to just let go. It can be a slow softening, that is a change that takes time. So have kindness and compassion for yourself for the ways in which you're trying to end some of your suffering. Ground in your body. See what it feels like to feel some weight come into the pelvis, dropping into the sit bones. Feeling a sense of ease as you drop in. Is there ease in yielding? Is there ease in giving yourself to the earth? How can you feel that your pelvis can broaden out a little bit, get a little more spacious so that you have a bigger support underneath you? And from that grounded place, is there an opportunity to expand? How about your spine? Is there some elongation that can occur without pushing or prodding? How about your breath? This is one of the places where we often bind the most. We guard, we hold, we hoard. So notice the unconscious pattern that might be living in your breath. How is your diaphragm? Is it able to release easily and move easily? How about the rib cage? Are they pliable and bouncy and adaptive? Or do you feel a little rigid and stuck? And this doesn't have to be an either or. You can have both. You can have moments where you feel very adaptable and moments where you feel very rigid. So, working with the breath and finding that pathway toward ease is one of the gifts that we can give ourselves when we're trying to loosen the grasp. Ease in the body. Let's find it in the face. Can you soften all the musculature around your eyes, through your cheeks, your jaw? Let your tongue loosen inside your mouth, deepen the root of your tongue. And what kind of connection does that deep root have to your throat, to the deep inner ears, the base of the skull? As you kind of permeate the ripple, this softness, let the skull itself, all the bones around your head melt. The brain recede just a bit away from the bones, softening. Go back to the base of your skull and sense into the neck, maybe just a teeny little bit of a bobble so that you know, am I holding tension? Am I not? And drop the shoulders. This is often a conscious and unconscious place where we grip and guard. What would happen if you didn't just let the outer shoulders rest, but feel around the neck? See if you can let some of the tethers that hold your shoulders to your neck loosen. Can you open across your collarbones? Feel a sense of width, expansive, not just upward through his spine, but wide, 360 wide, not just horizontally wide. Soft belly. With a little training of relaxation, can you feel just a bit less grasp? And don't worry if the answer is no. If you're like, nope, I'm still bound up. So this is what our practice is for, to unwind some of the tension, to become aware of our patterns, to be present in this moment. Take a deep breath, a full, complete exhale. Place your palms together at your heart and bow into yourself. So let the third eye drop down into the heart. Set an intention for yourself. And then release the hands. And let's come onto our back. All right, so as you lie down, take stock. How is your energy today? Are you tired? Are you stressed? Is there something, in your body that you're working with, recovering? Did you sleep well last night? Have you laughed in the last few hours? Have you hugged anyone in the last few hours? So just see what kind of replenishment has happened for you. All right, let's go ahead and stretch. Reach your arms up overhead. Lengthen through your sides, left side, right side, opening through the rims of the body. Waking up, taking a deep breath, letting the belly and the ribs expand.
Feel free to flare your ribs out. So, so many times we're like, knit the ribs in, integrate the ribs, let the ribs open and flare. And then relax your arms down at your sides and pick up your knees and bring them in. Check in with your back, your sacrum, your sacroiliac joints. How's your back today? So rocking from side to side, finding a sense of sway. Okay. Is the rocking soothing to you? All right, let's go ahead and open the knees away from each other and swing them back in. Just getting some warming, opening in the hip joints. And notice, do you have habitually, when we do this all the time, do you feel, oh, my left hip's more open than my right, or my right's more open than my left? Find and notice the patterns of the body. Okay, right knee into the chest, left leg long on the floor, and roll the ankles around. Breathing deeply as you wake up the feet. Feel a deep squeeze of the knee moving into the side body a little bit. Okay, pick up the left foot, cross the right leg over the left, and draw both knees into the chest. And just stretch the right hip a little bit. And feel free if you want to rock, if you want to move, what's available to you here. Let the head rest, let the head drop down into the earth. The spine stays long, the sit bones widen. And then unwind the legs. Stretch all of your limbs out wide. Extend, wiggle your fingers and your toes. Take a deep breath here and squeeze. Hold your breath for just a moment. Squeeze all your muscles. Wake everything up. And then let your breath out and bring your knees head up. Scroll in. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then relax. Down, left knee into the chest, right leg long on the floor. Feel that compression in the hip, extend through the spine. Feel free to move your toes around, wake up those feet. And then bend your right knee, stack the left thigh over the right thigh, draw knees into the chest. And you don't have to have your biggest, deepest stretch right now. We're just warming up. So if you usually kind of walk down the legs and hold your feet, maybe not so much right now. Just let that piriformis muscle stretch. Breathe well. Extend the spine, widen the sit bones. How is this side compared to the other? And then open your legs out one more time. Spread out your limbs. Exhale, chest up, head up, squeeze in. Put your feet down onto the ground. Feet wide on the mat. Let's windshield wiper our knees left and right, just coming into some ease of movement. So remember, the non-grasping, if we can teach ourselves to relax a little bit, sometimes even our yoga practice can be filled with grasping. We want to tighten, we want to tense this muscle, we want to stabilize this joint, we want to work hard, focus, even our focus can be grasping sometimes as we kind of burrow attention in. So see if you can get broader a little bit in your vision, your internal vision, your external vision, and let yourself be a full, huge, whole body today. Move the knees over left and stretch the right arm, lengthen, wiggle your hand, turn your head if you want, and then come back to center and go the other way. Knees over to the right, stretch the left arm up and over, lengthen through your sides. And then relax and melt. Come back down into the floor with all your limbs. Put your limbs wherever you want them. And just have a moment before we get up and start moving. Let's have an enjoyment of resting on the ground. Are you resting enough? And what's your relationship with rest? Is your rest, do you feel guilty if you lie down for 10 minutes in the middle of the day? Do you have difficulty resting all by itself without a book or a phone or a screen? Do you have the ability to breathe while you're resting? Can you focus on the breath? Rest is a very active process sometimes. All right, and then let's go ahead and find our way onto our side and come up onto your hands and your knees. As you focus on your coming onto all fours, give yourself an opportunity to yield. Okay, so can't say enough about these yielding practices where we give ourselves to the earth
and we allow the earth to give something back to us. It's way different than pushing the floor away and just propping up your body. Okay, so let's try to remember that we're always in relationship, every breath. Lift and widen the sit bones as we arch the back a little bit, round the spine, spread out the shoulder blades, drop the head and tail as you come into a scared cat. So back and forth between the old cow and the scared cat, moving the spine. Okay. What feels good here today? Have you moved a lot yet today? Have you gone for a walk? Maybe, I didn't notice if Ruth is here. She's in Scotland, so she's at the end of her day. So just notice, what kind of movement have you had? How has it treated you so far? All right, and then let's swirl around through the body. Roll around in your hips, move around in your shoulders. Try not to think too much. Just let the body move in, think in feels. Let the body think in feels. So see what you're feeling. What kind of movement is necessary right now for you to feel alive in the body. Curl the toes under and lengthen up into dog pose. Stretch through your limbs. So here's another opportunity to experience our yielding. Root hands and feet, rebound through spine. Feel your head dangle. The full brain. Let blood come. Let cerebral spinal fluid kind of pool in your skull a little bit. Does it feel good to have a heavy head? How's your exhales? Can you let them be full? Do you want to light up your legs at all? So maybe pedaling your feet, dropping one heel, dropping the other heel. Are you a bouncer, a shaker, a swayer? Do you like to move fast or slow in your movements? Try not to have expectations. Just listen to what the body's asking for. Heart up toward the pelvis. And then let's come back down onto all fours and come back to child's pose. Take the knees wide, drop the hips back toward the heels, open up the low back and breathe down your spine. Walk the hands over to one side of the mat and feel the side body lengthen and awaken. Can you feel the breath? It's our gift. It revs the engines. It gives us everything we need. Feel the breath. Can you feel it all the way down to the pelvis, the sacrum? And then come back to center and walk over to the other side, stretching through that side body, feeling the length. And notice, do you only feel it in certain ribs or your shoulder? Feel it from your fingers down to your hips. See if you can wake up that whole side channel of the body. Relax the neck. And then come back to center. Up on all fours again. Feel free to swirl things around a little bit, move your head. We're going to come into a little bit different of a posture because we're going to stay on all fours, but bring your right thigh over top your left thigh like cow face pose and drop back. And don't worry if your knees don't stack, just drop back toward child's pose and let your hips stretch a little bit. Drop your chin toward your chest. And then come back up, undo that leg, stretch your right leg straight back behind you, curl your toe under, lengthen heart forward. Let's cross the leg over now. So that right leg crosses over to the left, turn and look out over that foot, stretch through your side. All right, come back to center, child's pose. Settle the hips back toward the heels. Come back up onto all fours, left thigh crosses over right thigh, and settle back onto your hips. And this is awkward for some people. You may not go very far back at all. And if that's the case, still widen the sit bones. Yield into the hands. Drop whatever weight you can down. And then come back up. Unwind that leg, stretch left leg back, curl toes under, let the calf open, and then cross the leg over to the other side and turn and look out over the right. Open up the side channel of the body, breathe here. And then come back to center, knees wide, child's pose, deep hip flexion. Open up the sit bones, let them widen, feel the breath travel down the spine again.
Come up onto all fours and find your way to dog pose. Extending again. Feel, now we're big again. We're off the floor. So feel the hands and feet rebound up through the whole spine. How is your breath? How are you anchoring your hands? Are you rooting index finger and thumb mounds as evenly as pinkies? Can you hug in toward the midline a little bit so there's strength in your torso? And then walk your feet forward. Come into Uttanasana, fold in half. Let your knees bend as much as you need. You can grab some blocks to put underneath your hands if you prefer. Inhale for a halfway lift. Let the backs of the legs stretch open. Spread out the bones of your feet. Get them wide and broad. Exhale and melt back down again. All right, push off your feet. Rise up. Here we are standing. Yay, we're up. Okay, so let the chest find that upward motion. Lean back a little bit if it feels good. Spread your arms out. Cactus your arms. Wake things up in your upper body. And then release your shoulders. Shake out your wrists. Okay, let's just do, I'm going to try to add this in as much as I can these days because a lot of people I know are struggling with too much computer time. So spread out the hands, spread them wide as if you're pushing two walls away. Open the chest, lift the eyes of the elbows up. Relax the shoulders down, and then release. Spread out your fingers and shake them out again. One more time, open the chest. This time we won't do that stretch of the nerve, just fold as you round. Let the spine rest. Inhale for a halfway lift. Lift them wide in the sit bones. Are you starting to feel awake in the body? Exhale and roots back down. Feel the feet, plant them evenly. Inhale, halfway lift, big toe mounds, the inner feet, finding the floor, not just the outer feet. Melt and come back down. Step back to a plank. Hold steady so our right foot is forward, our left foot is back. Let's find that sciatic nerve glide. Take a deep breath, straighten the front leg, tuck the chin toward the chest. Stay grounded in the big toe as you pull that hip back. Back and forth you go. Move with breath. So we're bending the knee. We're opening up the hip. We're opening up the hamstrings. Tuck the chin toward the chest. Find the movement with the breath. Are you enjoying the movement of your body? Where are you learning to let go of a grasp? Do you always lock in somewhere? Is your skin soft? Let's go ahead and find our lunge now. Rise up. Maybe you're grasping at having a full, complete pose where you got to be up and open. Is there something different to offer your breath today? Can you soften the back knee a little bit? Is there expansion where you feel good instead of feeling locked? So sometimes we can pull ourselves into such space that we end up being a taut rubber band. Try to find some element of ease within that. So that learn how to not grasp even at the postures. How's your breath? And then release the hands down onto the ground. Back foot comes forward. Fold deeply. Bend knees. Relax your head. Inhale, lengthen spine. Lengthen legs. Half lift. Exhale and melt back down again. Step left foot forward, right foot back. Waking up this leg. Feel the hip flexors open. Put the blocks on whatever height you need them to be on. When you're ready, let's start to move. Straightening the front leg, tucking the chin toward the chest, hips stay square. Bending the knee, feeling the chest broaden and open as you extend the spine. So moving back and forth, try not to round the back too much when you straighten that leg. It's okay to tuck the chin, but try to keep the extension of the spine, the sit bones wide, the neutral lumbar spine. Does it feel good? Are you enjoying yourself? I hope so. I hope you're really happy to be in your body, even if there's struggle or a little pain or some difficulty or something that you could do 2 weeks ago, but you can't do today. All right, let's find yourself coming into a lunge. Rise up, expand your body softly. Give yourself over to the yield, even in your expansion. Is there softness on your skin somewhere, maybe around your neck or your face? How about the palms of your hands? The fingertips, are they soft and perceiving instead of gripped and hard? Find the soles of your feet.
Are you stable in your spine? So is there support where you need it? So this isn't to say just fall apart and be totally loose in your body. We want stability, but we want it married with ease. Exhale and release the hands down onto the ground. Dog pose, extend the spine. Open up your breath. Close your eyes if you want. Come into your practice. This is for you. This pose, this breath, this is all for you right now. So what are you experiencing? Is it serving you? Come forward into a plank. Hold yourself steady here. Start to integrate a little bit more strength, but there's still softness. Unlock the knees. Find your neck a little looser. Feel your jaw free up and your eyes. How about your fingers? Are they white-knuckled gripped? Or are they a little softer? Can your elbows have just a slight micro bend? Okay, let's put our knees down to the ground. Come all the way to the floor. Inhale, cobra pose. Let the chest broaden. It doesn't have to be your biggest, brightest thing. Exhale and melt back down. Before we do it again, roll the shoulders a few times. Let's roll shoulders up toward ears, up toward sky, down toward hips. Just feel that rolling. Feel that, you might have some like snap, crackle, pops going on in your shoulder blades. Just feel what you're feeling. And then bottom tips of the shoulder blades moving down towards spine. Engage your legs. Inhale, rise up, cobra pose. Exhale, and melt back down. Let's engage full back body now. So bring your arms back next to you, palms facing the floor. Inhale, lift all your limbs up. Feel your glutes turn on. Try not to only rely on the back. How's your breath? Breathe into the diaphragm. Let the diaphragm rock your body. And then exhale and melt and fold. Pick up your feet, windshield wiper, left and right. Find some ease along your sacrum, your spine. Breathe into the back body. Come up onto all fours when you're ready. Swish, swirl, move that spine around any way you want to move the spine. Find your way up to dog pose. Feel every time we come back home to a posture like this, can you feel that you're getting more connected to the earth, more connected to the breathing, a little more open and free in the body? Let's lift the right leg up in the air. Instead of opening the hip, let's square the hips. Lift the left hip up higher. Take the left thigh back. Engage the glutes in the air. Exhale, knee to nose. Bring it on in. Feel your core. Inhale, bring it on back. Exhale, bring your foot forward. Shorten up your stance. Grab 2 blocks. So walk your back foot in. Parsva Tonasana legs. Take your right foot out to the side as much as you need to for the support that you need for your pelvis to stay broad. Inhale, reach the arms up, extend through the spine. Let's go just a little bit down, a little bit forward. You can bring your hands out or stretch them back, wherever you want them to be. How's your front foot? Did you lose contact with the big toe mound, the inner heel? Feel the grounding. Soften the knee. Can you feel your hamstrings both engage in their strength, but also extend? Feel the crown lengthen away from the tail. Are you rooted through your back leg? Can you inner spiral the thighs and widen the sit bones? What's holding all this together? Can your core help you stabilize? And then rise back up, arms to the sky. We're going to take it deeper now. So come forward, lengthen your heart. Bring your hands onto 2 blocks. Or, maybe you're flexible enough to reach the floor. Have your front foot walk out to the side as much as you need. So your right foot can go out right to help you broaden the pelvis. Your left foot can go left. What's giving you a sense of space? That sense that we're opening up. The sit bones widen here. Can you feel a neutral lumbar spine? So a little nutation of the sacrum. The top of the sacrum moves anteriorly. Feel the spine grow. Stay grounded through the front big toe. Move the knee into a little bit more softness. So if you're a locker, if you tend to just lean and hyperextend in your knee, soften it a little bit and let the femur bone lift into the hip shaft, or the shaft of the femur bone lift into the hip. All right, let's go ahead and hop up onto that right foot, half splits. Engage the glutes on this side now. So lift that left leg in the air. Maybe you want to pulse a few times to feel that integration. How's the outer hip that you're standing on? Is it able to work? And then exhale and release. 2 feet hip width apart. Extend the spine. Find that sense of neutral and fold forward. Uttanasana. Grab one of your blocks, stick it between your thighs. Keep your body low to the ground so we're not coming up to chair pose. We're staying low. Have your hands press against the outer knees and have your knees press into your hands. Stay rooted. The femur bones are drawing back. Wake up those outer hip muscles, extend through your heart. Stay grounded in the big toe mounds. And then rise up, arms to the sky. You can take that block out of there if you want. You can keep the block in there. We're going to find our way to chair pose. So, if you have a wonky knee, blocks are so nice to help you stabilize. It gives feedback to your adductors. Your outer hip muscles get to stabilize. It can be very grounding for your knee if you feel a little unstable. Find your breath. Put your arms wherever you want them to be. Rock weight into the heels now. Lift and spread the toes. Are you even weighted? Drop into the left foot. Drop into the right foot. And find, where do you like to live? Do you have dominance? How's the softness in your neck now? Can you untether those binds? Let the traps relax. Flare the ribs, let them get big on your inhale. And by flare, I mean out to the sides. All right, stand all the way back up. Thigh bones back, open your chest. Exhale and fold forward. Take that block out of there. Halfway lift. Exhale, pulling your hands onto the floor, dog pose. Every time we come back, home here. And remember, if dog poses are not your favorite thing, make a different choice. Nothing is a rule to be followed. It's all just a guide. Okay? Go ahead and lift the left leg up in the air. Find the work. So the hips are square. We're not stacking. Can you feel both your right hip on the ground? Can you lift that hip? Can you take the thigh bone back? And the left hip in the air. Engage your glutes. Find your breathing. Exhale, knee to nose. Bring it on in. Inhale, bring it back. Exhale, bring it forward. Come into a lunge. Shorten your stance. Have some blocks handy if you need them. Find the breath. Rise on up. So Parsvottanasana legs are not nearly as long apart as a lunge. Think do you need more width? Okay, so find what you need. Reach the arms up, open through your spine. Try to zip up from your pubic bone upward to your sternum. And then when you come forward with either the arms up or out or down, whatever is going to support your spine and help you use your core best, that's where to put your arms, wherever you're breathing best. Find the work in that front hamstring and glute. Can you root the foot down, the big toe mound, the inner heel? Can you feel the heel press? Your glute activates even as you're stretching. Feel the crown lengthen. If your arms are back, lift the heads of the arm bones away from the floor. Try not to pop the floating ribs. Integrate the spine. How's your breath? Remember, see the forest through the trees. Reach the arms back up to the sky. And this time we're going to take support. So hands on blocks. And, if the 2 blocks on their highest height is not high enough for you, you can always make one stack kind of right on the inside edge of your foot so that you have more height available. Whatever it is that you need, root into the big toe, pull that femur bone back, sit bones widen. Can you feel a neutral lumbar curve? So the very top of your sacrum kind of moves in toward the anterior surface of the body. The tailbone lifts up and sit bones widen. Let the low back be in this neutral position so we're not rounding the spine. A lot of times when our hamstrings are tight, this is the feedback loop we get. We round the spine. So if that happens to you, put more height underneath your hands so that your hamstrings don't have to stretch so far. Breathe here. Stay grounded in your feet. When you are ready, we're gonna climb up into a half lift. So blocks come forward. Be very mindful. So, these blocks, when they're on their highest height, are quite wobbly. So be really mindful to not injure yourself and fall off a block. So be very careful of how you place your hands, where the weight is bearing through the block into the ground. Extend that leg in the air. Feel maybe a little pulsing so your glutes turn on. And exhale and place that foot down onto the ground. Feet hip width apart, no block. Take your hands on the outer knees again. Move your feet apart and your knees into your hands. Activate those gluteus medius muscles. Feel the spine grow and then melt and fold forward. Step back to a plank. Hold yourself steady here. Integrate. Find the breath. And then put your knees down onto the ground and lower yourself to the floor. Take your legs a little wider. Inhale, lift everything up. Arms can go in front of you, behind you, next to you, wherever you are. Lift and integrate the glutes, two sides even. Exhale and melt. Turn your head one way or the other. Pick up your feet and windshield wiper your knees. Feel your body rest on the floor. Remember, rest can happen on a single breath. Melt completely as best as you can. And then when you're ready, back up onto your hands and your knees. Feel yourself swirl and move around through your body. All right, and then dog pose if you prefer. If you are skipping some dog poses for whatever reason, wrists, shoulders, whatever you got, then we're gonna come back into those Parsvottanasana legs in a moment. So find your way up. When you're ready, go ahead and lift your right leg in the air. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, bring it on back. Engage your glutes. Exhale, swing it forward again. Shorten up your stance. Elongate the spine, two hands on blocks. Find the breath. Ground your feet. Okay. Rise all the way up. We're finding a twist here. Hand on hip. First, actually keep your hands out to the sides. Before we come down into revolved triangle pose, let's just get the obliques awake. We didn't really do much to open up our twisting muscles. So as we turn to the side, as we find a sense of movement to the right, can you stay grounded through the right big toe as you reach the right hip back? Let your chest and your hands be on one line. So try not to turn your arms faster than your chest. Integrate your legs. Root down, inner spiral the thighs. Relax the neck and shoulders. Come back up. Find the extension. Let's walk the back foot forward. Step the front foot back. Parsvottanasana legs on this side. Arms out to the side. Practice that sense of a twist. Wake up the obliques. They're such nice muscles to have awake in the body. They help us to turn well instead of getting all weird in our spine. Drop the shoulders. Feel the spine grow. Root into the feet. Unlock the knees. Go where your exhales take you. Rise all the way up. Place the hands down onto the ground. Back foot comes forward. Fold in half. Melt the head a little bit. Take the left foot back. Back to the first leg. Rise up. Hand on hip. Right hand on hip. Left arm lifts. Open up the grasping hand. Feel the ungrasp in the body. Where's open? Where's free? Where is grounded? And lengthen your arm forward. Put your hand on maybe 2 blocks, maybe 1 block, wherever you go. Before you start twisting, find your legs. Do you want to bring your right foot out to the side more? Can you inner spiral the thighs, widen the sit bones, and nutate the sacrum? Extend the spine forward. Stay rooted in that big toe to find the grounding for the pose. Open up your chest, twisting to the right. Try not to let the hip hike out to the side. Keep it drawn in. Both shoulders, you may want to hunker your chest in. Can you widen the collarbones and keep the shoulder blades moving down the back? Open the twist. Breathe your way here. Remember those oblique muscles. Find the roots of your feet. Widen the sit bones. Soften the knees. How's your back leg? Is your foot grounded? And then exhale and melt yourself back down. Hands on ground, dog pose. Extending through the spine. If you're skipping a dog pose, just bring your feet forward. When you're ready, left leg lifts high in the air. Engage your glutes. Exhale, knee to nose. Bring the leg up. Exhale, bring the foot forward. Shorten up your stance. So your legs are plant them where you want them to be. You know where we're going. So sometimes we need that left foot to be out a little bit wider. If our pelvis can't be in a neutral place and we start to twist, we have to have the foundation set before twisting. Ground the feet, soften the knees, square the pelvis. Find your breath. Lift that right arm up in the air, exhale and bring the right hand down to rest on a block or two. Find the legs again, root to rise, find your yielding, unlock your knees. Is your pelvis in a neutral place? Can you feel the top of the sacrum tip down into the body as the tailbone lifts? Widen the sit bones. Do you tend to want to lean and push that left hip out to the side? Hug the hip in. Elongate the spine. Only when you have all these things, start to turn and twist. Keep the shoulder blades down the back. Enjoy the work of the obliques and the breath. Stay rooted. Is your big toe mound rooting? Is your knee unlocked? Can you lift the femur bone into the hip? Is the sacrum in a neutral place? Do you like this? Does this feel good? Is there something easeful about it? Find whatever you can to seek the ease. And then relax and melt your hands back down onto the ground. Back foot comes forward. Touch your toes now. Come into two legs, become one chair pose. Reaching the arms to the sky or back or anywhere you want them to be. Draw your femur bones back into the hips. Find that grounding. The heels move into the earth. Full breaths. All right, and then rise up to stand. Open the chest. Relax the arms. Interlace your hands behind you. Take your feet a little bit wider, hip width or so. Open up the chest. Spread open your wings. Bend your knees and lift your arms over your head. Well, actually, don't do that. Lift your arms away from the spine. Perhaps they go over your head. Perhaps they move 1 inch away from your sacrum. Wherever your body goes. Okay, unlock the elbows, relax the skull, melt the head. And then release your arms down. Finding the breath. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and melt again. Grab your 2 blocks. Coming into half lift again, right foot down, left leg in the air. Find your breath here. Extend the spine. We're going to squat one-legged now. All these chair poses turning into a one-legged chair. Tuck the knee either next to the knee or behind the knee. And you decide, are you comfortable here on the ground with your hands? Do you want to lift one hand or two off the blocks? Maybe your arms want to come out. What's integrating that movement? Can your core engage? Do you feel the moving of the root into your foot? And then rebound, lengthen back into half splits again. Place the foot down onto the ground, hip width apart. Maybe let's go wider. Take your feet to the outside edges of your mat and melt a little bit here. Just stretch your gluteus medius, your hamstrings, relax your neck. Feel the spaciousness in your pelvis. Put your hands on blocks. Come to a half lift like this with your legs kind of halfway between Uttanasana and Upavista or Prasarita Padottanasana. Feel the chest expand. All right, and then we're going to walk our feet back in. Stand on your left foot. Lift that right leg up in the air. The glutes are turned on. I'm hoping the glutes are turned on. Extend through the spine. Where's the yield? Where's the ease? How about your neck? Exhale and tuck your knee behind your knee or next to your knee. Squat in a one-legged squat. Imagine you're trying to push yourself up to straight, but you can't because you weigh so much. So push your foot into the ground. Feel your glutes turn on. Extend the spine. Maybe your hands come off the blocks. Maybe they come out to the sides or palms together. Maybe one hand comes to your heart and the other hand is safely on the block. And then go ahead and stretch into half splits again. Lengthen. Exhale. Put your foot down onto the ground. Turn sideways on the mat now and take a very wide leg prasarita. Find hands on blocks, maybe hands on floor. Find whatever is going to give you a sense of deep space. Breathing well. Relax your body. The legs are still a little active. The feet grounding, the thighs engaged, the knees are a soft bend, a little tiny micro bend. All right, and then go ahead and heel toe your feet and come down onto the ground. Okay. All right, so we're going to do cow face pose. Of course, we didn't do anything to kind of open the arms up very much other than that one stretch. So first, just sit on your heels. Don't go into the cow's face legs. If you're not comfortable, you can do this standing. Okay. So take your right arm behind you and lift that arm up the back. A strap is so very helpful. Okay. So grab on to the strap behind you. The other elbow's lifting up, stretching through your triceps. And when we do this pose, if you can grab your fingers behind you, then go ahead. But don't do it at the expense of having this arch in the back. Integrate the spine. Lift your elbows away from each other. Relax your neck. This internal rotation of your right shoulder can be very tricky for a lot of people. So do it softly. Don't go so extreme. Let the collarbones stay broadening. And then unwind, slide down and on the strap, release your arms. Take the strap over to top the other shoulder. Reach the left arm now behind you and hold on to the strap. Right arm lifts up and grabs onto the strap from above. So only go where your body says go. There's plenty of strap available. So try not to do weird things with your the internal rotation of that left shoulder. Broaden across the collarbones. Go as down on the strap as your shoulder feels it needs to be. Stretch the elbows away from each other. Keep the neck loose. Relax the base of the skull. Feel the broadness of the chest and release the ribs in instead of popping them out. Okay, and then slide your hands down on the strap. Shrug your shoulders, maybe do some movement. That internal rotation, you can counteract it by having some cactus arms if you want. And then relax. So now we're going to put this all together for cow face pose. Come on to all fours. And we're going to take our left leg, pick it up, and slide it behind the right leg. Okay, so both shins are now down onto the floor. For you, this might be your pose, just hanging out here and trying to drop the hips back and forward a little bit. If you're able to, you can sit on a block, okay? So you can get the edge of a block underneath your sit bones or a blanket so that you can have your leg, you can be sitting and have your legs in this position. It's a deep fascial stretch. So you can try to stack your knees, just go as best as you can. You can pull your feet out a little bit so they're in line with each other. Just find what's available to you. The more height you get underneath you, the easier it is. The more you pull your feet next to your hips, the easier the pose becomes on your hip joints. Okay, so this is a lot of torque on the femur bones. You should feel a good stretch here. And if it's too much higher, higher, less deep, okay? Let's add the arms. Because our right leg is on top, we're gonna bring our left arm up. Oops, where's that strap? Wrap it around your body, strap behind you so that you have some support. Lift up, okay? Find the breath. Can you feel the balance point somewhere in the center of your body, creating weight into the earth? Rebound up through your crown. All right, unwind the pose and get your legs out of there. Okay, so for some people, you might need to just have a moment, right? For others who are very flexible, you can do the fancy turnaround twist to get out of here. All you have to do is pick yourself up and spin yourself around and you're back to the other side. So however you get there, take as much support. And you might find that one side is very different from another side. So you might need a blanket or a block, more or less, depending on how you are. Adjust. So there's so many ways to adjust your legs if you can't, get into the quote unquote pose, right? So you can choose to have your foot on the ground. You can take that leg underneath you and stretch it straight. There's so many ways that you can modify to still allow a little bit of stretch in at least one hip. All right, so drop your sit bones, lift the spine. Can you feel that fascial pull? Open up the chest, grab your strap, and we're gonna come to the other side. So because our left leg is on top, we're gonna bring our right arm on top. So slide the strap over your right shoulder, grab on the left arm behind you, holds the strap wherever you need it to be. Lift the elbows away from each other, integrate, center yourself on your sit bones, feel the crown over your sit bones. How is your breath? This is an awkward pose, so how are you finding ease? This isn't easy for most people. Some people sit to do this and then it's like, oh yeah, I got this, this feels awesome. But for many of us, this is a struggle of a pose. So how do you find the ease amid something that's so weird, right? This is not a position we normally take. All right, and then unwind the posture. Get rid of the arms, unwind the legs, stretch them straight out in front of you, and come to lie down on your back. Okay, have a block handy. Stretch your legs for a moment straight. Take your legs a little wider than your hips and shake your legs into internal and external rotation. Just let your hip joints right at the socket, relax and rest. Breathe deeply. Okay, so we're going to do a supported bridge pose low. Of course, you can ignore me and go higher. But take the block underneath your pelvis on the low height. Just finding some symmetry across your sacrum. Those were some very asymmetrical poses we did today. They can kind of tweak with the SI joints, the hip joints, if you are not careful. Make sure the block is across your sacrum, so it's supporting both your pelvis and your sacrum and not just your sacrum. Can you melt? Maybe you want to stretch your legs straight. And if that feels good in your body, go for it. You might even take your legs wider than your hips. If that doesn't feel good, don't do it. Just keep your knees bent. So just decide what's good for your body right now. How's your breath? What do you want to do with your arms? Because you can really do anything you want with your arms. All right, if your legs were straight, bend them again. And then we're going to make sure you're on a low block that's across your sacrum. Bring your knees toward your chest, nice and even. And then we're going to lift the legs straight up in the air. How's your breath?
Bring your knees back toward your chest. And then we're going to come down and find Shavasana. So if there's anything else your body's calling for, a twist or some windshield wipering of your knees or a happy baby pose, anything at all, you take what you need. And when you're ready, find Shavasana. You might notice that you might want a blanket underneath your knees. This can be very soothing for the pelvis. Breathe deeply. As you mind your body and find the perfect place for you to be right now, remember this non-grasping. Shavasana is a perfect place to practice the art of letting go, of not grasping. And it's easy to say, just let it go, just let it go. No big deal, let it go. Um, it is a big deal to let it go. It's a very big deal for a lot of things in a lot of circumstances, for our mind, for our body to really release. So use your Shavasana as not only a gift of rest in this moment, but as training in the art of surrender. What does it feel like to let your limbs go? What does it feel like to let your spine go? How about your head? Can you release it a little bit more into the floor? Or is there tension around your face, back to that tongue and inner walls of the ears and throat? Is there tension here you can surrender? And finally, what about your belly and your breath, your ribs, your chest, your diaphragm? Settle into the work of letting your breath go. Whole body ease, whole body, whole mind ease.
Let's begin to deepen some breathing again. Find movement that feels right. Could be subtle little things like moving your thumbs across your finger pads or turning your head from one side to another. It can be much bigger movements. Eventually finding your way onto your side. And coming up to sit. Place your palms together at your heart as you come upright. Let's open the breath. Offer your practice, share with another. Is there a grasping that you can let go of? Can you even let go of what you hope for another in your intentions of sending them energy? Be free in your offering. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a wonderful day.